Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to part 9 of our MotoGP 25 Let's Play. Yes, we return this weekend. I don't know where yet, to be honest, because first of all, we've got a race out at Borgo Castelli. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Mugello, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. I made a little bit of an error. Unfortunately, right at the end of the race, we were running inside the points, and I ran out of fuel, which wasn't very good for us. Adrian Fernandez, though, still leading the way ahead of Jose Antonio Rueda. Tayo Furusato still in third ahead of Angel Paqueros and David Munoz as well there. We are back down to 11th, only 2 points though behind Jacob Ralston. We still need to try and beat Alcantara Carpe in the championship standings at the moment. Surriagi is now leading in Moto 2 ahead of Tony Arbolino, and then in the MotoGP class it is still Ayagura ahead of Jack Miller and Maverick Vinales as well there. So plenty of chopping and changing up and down in the World Championships. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 4K subs here on the channel, and yeah, let's do this thing. Well, this time around I've decided we are going to do some flat track racing, which is basically kind of like BMXing. As far as I gather. Again, my knowledge on motorbikes is not fantastic. Apparently, from what I've read online, these are pretty terrible as well. So we'll wait and see as to how we get on. Apparently, like, the AI are ridiculously OP. They can, like, hold slides and you just can't. Yep, there you go. that got proven basically immediately here. So, yeah, I'm not expecting this one to go very well. In fact, we're already down to last place. Right off the start there. The goal was meant to be to try and beat Jose Antonio Rueda in this one. But ultimately, I think if we just make it round without falling off 6 million times, then we should be good. I mean, it's just how much it spins on you. Like how has the back end got so much swing? It's very, very weird. It's somehow, like, you're drifting, but you've just got no feel on it. So you try and correct it, and because there's kind of so much swing at the back end, it's basically just like a pendulum behind you. This is it's quite scary, to be honest. Again, a bit like the mini bikes as well. I don't know if you can. Well, we've already proven that you can actually fall off, but it's rather difficult to do. I mean, look at that. Yeah, this doesn't work. Oh no, I found a shortcut maybe. Nope. Oh, the game's even got confused with what's going on as well. I believe the next race is out in Assen, which is normally quite a good one, so I think I'm just going to see you guys there.
Good morning from Assen. Here we are again from the circuit where the second practice session is about to begin. The session will be important both to test the race pace and to book a place in Q2.
Well, this is a venue that I certainly remember from last year's game as well. Assen is probably, I think for a lot of people, like the motorbike circuit that people know in MotoGP. It's very fast, it's very, very aggressive, and you've got to be super, super careful around this venue. I don't know how much of it I can remember, but I feel like on MotoGP 24, Turn 1 was way more downhill than that. It's got a lot of fast-flowing apexes, though, around this venue. It's just this first sector is horrible for how much it kind of folds in on itself. I mean, this basically just feels like a spiral. I mean, it's especially through the back half of this circuit. You just are completely throwing the bike around at, what, speeds in excess of 130, 140 miles an hour there. Big curbs as well, that will absolutely punish you, as I was talking about. Staggeringly, though, as well, I forgot to mention this, might be, I think, about the third weekend all year where there's no rain predicted, which, around a circuit like this, I am very, very thankful about. Let's just try and get a good time, though, so we can make it into Q2. That is the goal first and foremost. I mean, trying to barge wheel to wheel with other riders through there seems a little bit crazy. Not quite sure who that was, but yeah, this final chicane as well always kind of has allowed riders to go for something a little bit brave against each other. First fairly legitimate lap on the board, though, going to be a 44.4. Was still a fair way away, but I know there was a lot of time in there. That kind of explains it then, doesn't it? It was, of course, Riccardo Rossi that have been trying to dive bomb me everywhere, and another one. I only noticed that, hence why I'm rewinding, otherwise I would have just let it happen. How does the game decide that is a long lap penalty for me in the race? We're just trying to do our own lines. He's coming from way behind, just throwing it in there, and yet the game goes, nope, you should have avoided that. How? As now we're kind of stuck in this little gaggle of riders. This is not ideal. Yeah, that one I can understand why that would be a penalty. I might have just ridden straight into the back of him, whoever that is. Well, it's a little bit earlier than I'd really want to, but we're going to come out here and do a low fuel soft compound run fairly early on. We're still like 2 seconds off the pace of the top riders, of course. This didn't work for us in Mugello, so I don't want to kind of do it too late in the session, and then potentially it kind of come back to haunt us. So we're just going to try and go out, see if, even if we can just get one good lap with it, I'll be quite happy. But I don't think softs are going to be the race tyre of choice. Well, one thing I'm definitely finding as well now on this game is, of course, in the very, very early races, I would kind of need to follow the AI around just to get an idea of kind of what was possible. Now I feel like I'm definitely getting my eye in a bit more, and probably actually setting more competitive lap times when I'm out there running by myself. As you can see, this lap hopefully is going to showcase that. 1.5 seconds up through the final couple of corners, 1.8 seconds up as we try and get the power down. So that's going to put us up into P15. And the tyres still have grip. But it's so satisfying when you're starting to get laps hooked up, especially around the top end of the circuit. A little bit of a mistake there. That might cost us down in towards the final few corners, but it definitely showcases that the pace is here. I think this is going to be my last run on this set of tyres. Let's just make sure well, I don't run it wide there. Maybe a little bit late on the loud pedal. We try and get the bike slowed down in through the final couple of corners. It's so easy just to get a bit too aggressive rather than maintain a good line, which we will. And there we go, top of the board, 141.5. That should see us straight through into Q2. Well, I've got no idea kind of where the real light times are around this circuit, but I'd love to see how Adrian Fernandez did a 136.8 there. That is the one thing I would change on this game still, is that annoying glitch. That seems to keep happening, so despite a really, really good lap time in Q1, in qualifying, in practice even, it's not going to matter. We ended up 23rd at the end of that session, just ahead of our teammate, but nowhere near where we should have been.
Welcome to the Dutch circuit of Assen. The first Moto3 qualifying session is about to start, and we'd like to remind you of the rules here. 15 minutes of time available. The 4 riders with the best times go into Q2.
The thing is, I would have no problems if, like, the AI improved steadily over the session and maybe, you know, top riders got into, like, the 40s, for example. I'm sure, you know, really good people on this game can probably get 39s, maybe even 38s out of these bikes, but there's just not a chance that anybody without some kind of hack could get around here on a Moto3 bike in, like, 1 minute 35. My plan was just try and get out there nice and quickly and get a quick lap time on the board, but of course, you know, I don't want to sit through like an hour and a half's worth of sessions to make these videos. That's not going to do us any favours either. I'll also say track limits around here seem to be rather forgiving, which coming off of Mugello last weekend is probably quite a good thing. That place maybe did very, very well not to get like a long lap penalty or anything like that. Noah Detweiler immediately does a 41.5, so I mean, the AI are definitely quicker than they were in practice, but it's definitely not a 136. Time's coming in then, around those 141s, but clearly Noah Detweiler has set a pretty good benchmark here as we throw our bike in towards the final couple of corners. It looks like it could be very close between myself and our teammate, but I'm hoping we're just going to have a bit of an advantage there. For Osato, he was disappointed to be out in Q1, but a 41.0 again. That should be enough, but you never know what the AI are going to be able to kind of pull out of nowhere. Despite that first lap feeling pretty good then, what stops us from trying to find an even better one here? Another 4 tenths up. So we make our way in towards the final corner. We could basically double the gap to the riders behind there. Oh no! Just pushing the limits too much, and that's going to not only invalidate that lap, but the one after it as well. Well, I strongly dislike this game. I don't know whether it's like a problem with Asen that makes it even worse, but Noah Detweiler apparently can do a 137.5. We're going to be lining up, I believe, down in P23, ready for the race. That's a little bit disappointing. I don't think our lap time would have got us through into Q2 anyway, because like Valentin Perone has improved and a few other riders as well. But when 3 guys are way clear of everybody else, it just makes it impossible.
Race day has arrived here in Assen. A huge crowd has already packed the stands. Everything is ready for the traditional Dutch Grand Prix. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the Moto 3 class race. We're on the starting grid where the lights will soon go out to start the race. The sky is overcast and temperatures are pretty low, so many teams have fitted soft tyres to both the front and rear to allow riders to bring them up to temperature more easily.
Well, I'm not sure that I want to risk it on a set of softs, although it is looking quite overcast around the venue. I think we'll just stick with the mediums, stick with what we know, and hopefully we can try and be quite quick on that set of tyres. I think despite the fact we line up 23rd, I feel confident as we enter this one. Dare I say it, a top 10 might still be possible.
There's something magical about racing at Assen. The crowd is ready, the riders are ready, we're ready, and in a few moments we'll see the start of the Dutch Grand Prix.
Well, here we are then, ready on the grid here at Assen. The 10 red lights have come on then. This is definitely MotoGP's best track, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go then. Not off to a particularly good start. How many times have I said that recently inside this game? Every other rider trying to dive to the inside for turn 1. So I'm just going to try and do what I do best there and focus on getting a good run off the corner. Definitely not going to be able to do that when I nudge the curbing. That win back in Chang suddenly feels like a whole long time ago. But through the S's of the first few corners, not as much chaos as what we saw at Mugello last week, of course, when everybody was struggling to even make it down to turn 1. There's not a few riders trying to take my line there around the outside. We will just about make it work, though, and straight back up then into P19 off the start. Looks like Alvaro Carpe just inside your top 15 there early on, so just a couple of positions in front of us with that good start. But I mean, into here, 5th gear in qualifying trim, and you can absolutely throw the bike through this corner as well. We're only back down another couple of gears as well, so it is really kind of high commitment, high risk, high reward around here early on. But especially in race trim, got to be a little bit more careful, as that is not being more careful. A little bit difficult because we've got 2 riders with the initials car inside this game, so yeah, we're always trying to look for a car at the moment rather than the car. Always a little bit weird. I as well want to know, a couple of you guys have been commenting about it recently. Oh, what's going on here? Why was there a tea party down at the final corner? I was going to ask why the game won't let my rider use the number 21. But apparently we've got bigger problems to deal with as we're now up into the points. I think that was Alvaro Carpe that was one of the riders that was very slow. So that's not been a bad lap 1 then. Just trying to have a look back down the inside of, well, that is the rider that has got my number 21 on their back. So let's try and put the moves on them as soon as we possibly can. Can we have a bit of a look? A bit of a cheeky send down the inside? Yes, we can. Oh, don't go too early on the throttle though, Matt. Gather it up nicely. Definitely some big barges coming in from Dennis Foggier just in front. Again, I am reading all your guys' comments. You have been saying that it's generally the Moto 3 riders are the most impatient, mainly because apparently they're all like teenagers and just want, obviously, a bit like Formula 2 and Formula 3, you want to kind of prove yourself to the F1 teams as well of what you're capable of, or in this case the MotoGP teams as well there. So yeah, do have to be a little bit more careful. But there's definitely a lot of places that can be gained. So we'll move Dennis Foggier. Am I going to get a penalty? No, I'm just going to get a warning for track limits, apparently, on that one. So does Dennis. So I'm sure he'll be a little bit disappointed with that. Detweiler just in front, though. Been a while since we've seen him fighting in the top 10. We're getting towards half distance this season. I feel like I am slowly but surely learning most of the names inside this series. There is Buchanan separating us from that top 10 position right now. I mean, we're already gained. We were last at turn 1. We're already halfway back up the order. For Rosato leading ahead of Bequeras. I don't know where Adrian Fernandez is. I would assume somewhere near the front. He might even be there in P4. So I'm pretty certain he's got a blue suit. So that's what we've got to be looking out for as well. Not that I feel like I could beat Adrian in the championship unless a lot of things went badly wrong for him. But there you go, yep, he is now up at a P3. He's just the only rider that it feels like every single week is going to pick up a podium there as we're trying to look around the outside of Buchanan. And we make that work through the exit there. So awkward. If you get on the curbing, you can gather it up, but the bike really does want to get out from underneath you. It's all Buchanan carrying no speed off of the turn. Round the outside we will go in towards the final few corners of the lap. Noah Detweiler will be looking to try to escape this, because every time Noah and I seem to get close to each other, one of us comes off their bike, and it's normally our teammate there. It's round the outside of Buchanan in towards the final corner. Might be another track limits warning. Nope, we'll get away with it. And can we get past Detweiler cleanly back into turn 1? There was a little bit of contact. For some reason, all the AI trying to take stupidly aggressive lines. But yeah, we want to make sure we get round in without one of us falling off, which is quite important. And hopefully through these next couple of corners that's going to be able to happen. Another rider going down behind. I believe that's Yuri that is gone from this race then, so not what he would have wanted. But a little bit deep there. Can we try and gather it up on the exit? Yes, we can. We're not that far away from the leaders here. There's already rear tyre wear looking to be taking quite a beating. Round the outside of our teammate will go though, and up into that top 10. Well, I don't know if maybe Assen is a little bit of a weaker track for the AI, or whether I'm just seemingly got my lines hooked up this weekend, or maybe we are getting slightly better at this game as well. But yeah, definitely might look into upping the AI quite soon. We're scoring good points quite reliably. But certainly, we're not winning every race or anything like that, like we did back at Chang as odd. David, I think that's Manza, isn't it? Trying to look down the inside. We will try and make it 3 wide off the corner there. Makes me chuckle. In car racing, 3 wide around a track like Assen would be insane. On motorbikes, just kind of normal, isn't it? What do you mean you didn't go 3 wide this week? Were you way behind the rest of the field? So there we go. We have now navigated Vitelli though, as you can see Quilez just in front. But yeah, these are the riders that we need to be beating, trying to move our way back up the championship order. As around the outside of Almanza, we'll have the inside line for the next turn, and we are up another one. What on earth is going on here down in towards the final few corners? I'm watching these guys, and of course, they're all aware of what each other's doing, but all still trying to make room for themselves. Tyre Ferrosato, decent recovery after having to go through Q1 yesterday. I mean, always in this series, the cream will rise to the top, as we will get another track limits warning on the exit of that final corner. I mean, why are the AI so adamant on trying to move to the inside line for turn 1? No idea who we were basically just in a headbutting contest with. I think that might have been Angel Bequeras, so I feel slightly less sad about doing that one, as Bequeras will try and dive us in through turn 2 and turn 3. Finally feel like I'm working this sector of the circuit out. So a little blip of throttle there to try and cover off. Oh, sorry. No, that's not what I needed to do. Come on, get going again. We'll drop way back down the order. We're not out of the points, luckily. But down into 12th. Well, about 3 seconds before I came off the bike, I was just starting to think that maybe, just maybe, we could try and get our 2nd win of the year on the board, as back around the outside of Buchanan in towards turn 1. Luckily, your entire top 10 are all very bunched up together, but we are going to need a miracle final 2 laps. Well, less than 1 lap to go then, we are caught back up to this top 10 groups. We've got yellows out behind. I think another rider has come off, but we are so quick around this venue. Don't think we've got enough time to get quite back to the front. We can certainly still gain a few more spots. So that is not the line I need. Definitely seem to struggle more commentating over this than I do in Formula 1 machinery. And again, I would argue that these are a little bit more difficult than Formula 1 machinery as well. There is again another little mistake up through that kind of like weird chicane that isn't really a chicane. But we could still see chaos at the front of the order, as is often the recipe here at Assen, down in towards the final few corners. I can see Noah Detweiler, I believe it's Baum there just in front, having a bit of a battle. Can we keep closing in? Can we keep our foot to the floor there? All getting right over the curbing. At the very least, I want a top 10 finish in this race as we just try and blend it through these final couple of corners. What will happen through the final chicane of this race? Everybody will try and be fairly sensible. Are we going to be able to get the power down there? We are, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. We don't quite get a run on Detweiler. It is P11.
As the Moto3 riders do their cool-down lap, let's take a look at the final results of the race we've just seen.
Well, there we are then. Jacob Ralston will take the Moto TT at Assen this weekend. 1/10 clear of championship leader Adrian Fernandez. Ruida, Quiles and Paqueras will round out your top 5 ahead of Taifur Sato, Batelli, Almanza, Bowsry and Noah Detweiler inside your top 10. Back to points, I don't think we can be too sad about, but definitely today the win was on the cards there. Cormac Buchanan, David Munoz, Joel Kelso and Dennis Foggier will round out your point scorers there. What does that do to our championship? We'll be back ahead of Alvaro Garpe, but unfortunately Maximo Quiles will get the jump on the pair of us. I still reckon by the end of the season we could be in the fight for a top 5. If things go our way, I reckon we can get there. Teams Championship, CIP, unfortunately we lose a place to Red Bull KTM Tech 3 as well, but I still reckon again we could probably get in that battle for the top 5 points as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back very soon. I believe we're heading to Brno next.